accept private funds for elections. We had this, last month,
Right,
and we voted 3-2 to table it.
right.
And you.
I'd like to revisit it.
Okay,
Walworth, so I agree, in last month's notes, the resolution that we got from the Republican Party of Walworth County is a bit of overkill, where it refers to Zuckerbucks and things like that, but, Walworth County, approved an ordinance where it's simply stated for transparency, for integrity, even though it doesn't happen here, I mean, in the village, they even said, you know, they just get donations for supplies, whatever, but why not document it and make it part of our ordinances, that no donation shall be accepted from any person or non-governmental entity for the purpose of election administration, including but not limited to collection of ballots or voter registration. And then it also said, no grant shall be accepted from any person or non-governmental entity for the purpose of elections administration, including but not limited to collection of ballots or voter registration. Walworth County and several other municipalities are working on this ordinance, and I would, suggest that the town of East Georgia do the same, and authorize Attorney Mills to draft the language.
okay, now, regurgitate what my comments were last month, is town government is nonpartisan, period. The minute
This
we.
is a nonpartisan proposal from
No, it's partisan.
Supervisor Michelle Reyes.
No, that's not, because the request came in from the Republican Party of, Walworth County. I don't have a
I'm
problem.
basing it on the Walworth County ordinance as proposed this evening.
Okay.
Nothing to do with the Republican Party letter.
Okay, that was the basis of it, so for me, it's a no way, because all we're doing then is inviting more to come from whoever, to direct us on how to do our work. This board does not accept donations from that, it would have to be approved, number one, and number two, why, I mean, this, I heard it as being the, overkill on a problem that doesn't exist. We don't get donations from anybody for this. This is a big city issue, and to me, again, if we're not truly nonpartisan, we don't even look at this. Most of it would happen on these, letters that came, they were right in the wastebasket. I brought it to the board to have a discussion. We had a discussion last month. I know, Bill was taking it to a different level. My level is nothing to do with what party it is, absolutely nothing, okay? What it has to do with is a request from a party to a nonpartisan unit of government. That's the way I look at it. That's a personal
That's
feeling.
not what I'm presenting tonight.
Okay.
What I am presenting tonight is that Walworth County has implemented ordinance number 1271-0422, stating that no donations shall, Walworth County.
Yeah, they didn't tell us to do it.
No, they didn't, but my point is, I think the town of East Troy should follow suit as an integrity issue. Why wouldn't we be willing to put that in writing as part of our ordinance?
You have a good point.
My thought and comment was, I don't think there's anything improper about it, because we're not supposed to be accepting donations anyway.
Correct.
You're just looking at it.
Right.
So you're looking at this as a statement, have the board go on record to say if something like this happens,
We won't.
we won't accept it.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
That's all
That's all it is.
Why do we have to limit it to elections then? Why not just make a resolution that says we don't accept any donations?
Well,
Why
Yeah.
wouldn't we accept
Elections
donations?
are
then.
political.
Elections are different.
Yeah.
It could be
Other
a time to
circumstances.
sway.
What if someone wants to buy a park bench?
right.
Why wouldn't we accept the donation if someone made it to the parks?
I don't see there's
Why are
anything
we-
wrong with going on record, saying that we don't do this.
So we get one now from the Democratic Party, okay? And the county, Walworth County won't do that. Walworth County is obvious, will not do it, okay?
Well, you don't know.
So it'll come directly.
Depends on what they.
What is it?
request is.
Oh, no, well, it's the same thing.
I'm
You
saying,
answer the question.
but it's just, I understand what you're saying, where it's coming from, but
It's-
what it's getting
What
at
it's
doesn't
saying.
matter where it comes from, it's.
We're separating it
it's just-
from where
it's
it
just
comes
something
from.
that-
It's the
It doesn't matter
Who asked the question?
It doesn't
Right.
matter.
The argument last
It would
month
be
was
the-
it was a partisan.
Oh, that was Bill, that's why I wish.
Right.
That's why
This
today,
month,
I am separating it from that
Not
letter.
coming from anyone specifically, it's stating what we already do.
And it's just putting it
As
in.
the election administrator, I have no problem with us passing a resolution like this, none at all, because,
It'd
first
be
of
an
all,
ordinance.
well,
That's what Jim said, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
well, passing an ordinance then, because, first of all, it's not gonna happen, but it sets a clear line in the sand
Thank you.
that we don't take any donations for
For
election issues.
From anyone or any
Right.
organization.
In any manner, whether it be a donation or a grant or
Any
whatever.
organization.
Any person or non-government or anyone.
Well, my poll workers hot bucket, so that might be considered a big,
I was just
but they're
gonna
feeding
ask that.
themselves.
Yeah, it's, elections administration.
All right, it says here resolution, so you're saying it's supposed to be.
Oh,
No, it says
ordinance.
Says ordinance.
Oh, that's
Well,
what I was.
resolution's just for
It's a, yeah. it should be
something
ordinance.
that's, doesn't happen regularly.
Right.
So we would need to make an ordinance to make it apply to
Yeah.
all future
Okay.
elections.
Okay, all right. Any final comments? Call the question.
I move that we authorize Attorney Mills to draft an ordinance, stating that no donations will be accepted, for the purpose of election administration, including but not limited to ballots and voter registration.
One second.
All right, got a second? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
I,
Aye. Opposed? None, 4-0. About, the time when Bill left, that was it?
I did, 8 p.m.
8 p.m., thank you. Okay, ordinance 2022-3, creating chapter 10.46 regarding ATV routes and regulations. And already I hear, stuff that's, not even real. At the April board meeting, referendum was mentioned if the electors at the annual meeting approved or gave advice to the town to continue looking at this, okay? At the May meeting, I said to the board, hey, we need to consider whether or not this is an issue that we should vote on immediately or go to a referendum, okay? Not my words, I'm not saying I want a referendum, I'm saying that's gotta be considered, okay? And then the other thing with that is, and it was actually Jim's point, which is a good point. It was a, agenda item at our annual meeting, okay? So anybody that had a strong feeling for or against the ATV, UTVs in our 52 miles of road, they had the opportunity to come to that meeting, okay? And, 74 people voted, 42-32 saying, yes, town board, continue. So no matter what, it still comes down to this board. It can't be a directive from the electors, and even if we do a referendum, it's still advisory to us. So are we any farther ahead with a referendum than we are right now? Because we already had a mini referendum. That was the people that seen it and said, yeah, I'm showing up. Well,
and we saw the people come with the signatures initially to the town meeting.
yeah, there were 120 signatures, of which 99 were town residents.
On the other voting, I don't know, was looking at the police departments and all that, what were those numbers? I know Bill had made a comment about it was significantly different. Wasn't it?
Yeah, but there was a vote that was closer than that, the one that was way different.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot more people there is what my point's gonna be.
Yeah.
There's certain things, and to me, if you were saying that it came down to 10 people, from yea or nay.
Yeah, sure.
But before that, it was 60 people, or whatever, the difference was larger. But when this came about, that kinda tells me that people really didn't have they didn't really care either way, cause they left.
Or
Because-
they didn't show up for any of the issues,
They didn't vote.
right?
Well, there was way more people at the beginning of the meeting than there was at the end.
You're right.
So
You're
what
right.
I'm saying is that they knew this was coming on the agenda, so if it was something that somebody really cared about, or was really against, or for, I think that tells me that maybe they would have stuck around, that kind of, it was just an observation, that if it meant that much to them, then they would have stuck around and voted no, or yes, you know what
I
I'm
think
saying?
there were more than 74 people at the annual meeting, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were at 92, I believe, if that number sticks out. I can go grab minutes if you want me to.
And then I know when I apologize to you, because I did say I've never heard the referendum part, and Gene did find things, and I apologize, I guess, I never really took anything for me into consideration that there was a problem going on, because I never heard anything about anybody having a real strong issue, whether even me talking to the community.
Right.
I mean, definitely people's concerns and safety, I mean, that's always a huge factor, but I kinda thought of, well, they approved this as a suggestion, we went and did that, they said no to this, and then we were, it was said, well, we're not doing that, the people spoke. I just assumed we were gonna say they did this, because it's kind of been falling in line from that meeting, that this would just fall in line, and we've also, I said that last month about Attorney Mills taking his time, and as he should, but, his wages, to turn this around, and then all of a sudden, okay, now do we drop it because of a referendum? I just kinda thought everything was going right in the order of how everything else at that meeting went, as far as voting went, but.
And I understood that part, and I agree with you on that, because that's kinda how it went.
It's how it's gone, they said they didn't want us to do that, so we're just not gonna, doesn't mean we couldn't have, but we took it, okay, people spoke. I don't see much of a difference here.
Okay, well, that's
In
why
my
it's
opinion.
noticed this way. Put the referendum, actually should be a question mark, but that's a discussion, yea or nay, and like I said, I'm gonna go back to what Jim said on that, you already had one, and that was the annual meeting, okay? And will that change a directive to the town board? No, it's still advisory only, but as one of I think the chairman from the town of Delavan said is, if you do an advisory referendum, and now you have anybody, I mean, I don't know what the turnout's gonna be in November, but probably pretty good, okay?
90% plus.
Okay, so you'll have input from, basically the majority of the town, and this is a town-wide issue, okay? It's not just one that you can just turn your back on and say, well, no, it's only for this little area, okay? Mostly people wanna get from their house to the lakes. What other reason you need to do that? And we do have 52 miles, maybe it's more like 53 now. The last map we put out, 52 or 54?
We're just shy of 54.
54, okay. So, that's a lot of roads. And, doesn't include private roads. Of course, some people won't know the difference between private roads and public roads.
Well, it's no different than anything else, it's the rider's responsibility.
It is.
Right.
No different
It
than
is.
drive a car and.
But yeah, we have
motorcycle.
safety concerns with cars.
I mean,
with-
Motorcycles?
And the other thing that, and I think you had mentioned at one point, doesn't mean we have to keep it, we can't turn this around. If we just, all of a sudden, we're like, you know what, it's getting out of control. We give this thing a test run, if things start to happen, we have the capability of revisiting this and being like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm getting complaints, our police department is all of a sudden, what the heck is going on here? I mean, we've said that in our past, there's issues that we can revisit this attorney.
Correct. And,
There are people already using YouTube, assuming.
I don't even have
Zooming is
one.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chief Judge did call a bunch of communities that had this to see if there was any policing problems, he was finding it. Okay, and nobody admitted it. And John, have you heard anything in the past 2 months?
What was that? I didn't catch
No,
It was
John,
Me?
have you heard anything from other towns that did the ATV deal? Any rumblings, nothing came to your attention?
I have not heard any.
Haven't heard nothing?
Well, Pete sent out the question too before the annual meeting, and never got a response. He sent it
against it.
Village, that's a village, right?
Yes, and there was another community, I think it was Powley, that was looking at, it was a referendum question that was going to be in August. So, and the town was very divided. Because the woman that I talked to, her husband was on the fire district and they were very opposed to it. The police chief was, mixed on that. And then I talked to two who had approved it, so it was 50-50 in the counties that I covered in Morley County.
Yeah, this could become a non-issue, like you said, and you also could have a few that ruin it, okay, for the rest of them. But you're right, once you have it, there's nothing that says you can't rescind it. And, there really has been nothing that came out other than, you know, go to the UNR website, you'll find the number of people dead this year in ATV.
I looked it up, I Googled it.
Yeah, there's some, you know, but usually it's people doing something stupid, you know,
And
for themselves.
you don't really know if it's on a trail or
Correct.
a road, because then
It's
roads
not
are
defined.
deemed as a
Right.
trail.
And the ordinance, they follow the speed limit, that's real close to that, you know. And a lot of the concerns that were out there that say, what about this, what about that, are in the ordinance, okay? Enforcement's another deal, you know. You're not gonna chase somebody down and he then goes for the woods, well, you got a picture on your camera, you don't. You know, so, okay, so let's, go through this then. The first question that we had, on the agenda was put the referendum, so it's a question mark. We should probably vote on that first to say, yea or nay, we're gonna do it or we're not gonna do it, so we need a motion on referendum question.
Move that we put the use of ATV roads, on a referendum question.
Okay, so, you're making a motion to say yes to the referendum question.
Correct, in November.
In November. Okay. Do we have a second? I'll second it. I think it's a big enough issue that we need buy-in from everybody. Okay, we have to vote on that, so we have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
So that fails, because we don't have a majority. So the referendum question is dead. The authorized Attorney Mills referendum questions is dead because we're not doing a referendum, okay? We have to, okay, now, we read this ordinance last month. We tabled this month to answer the question, we just did, referendum. So, do we have to notice that again to approve this, can we approve this one tonight?
If it's on there,
Done there?
all matters are up for
Ordinance.
discussion and possible approval.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, we don't have to read it again,
No,
we don't have to read it.
I'll make a motion that we accept the ordinance. This is how you put it. Approve, accept and approve ordinance 2022-3, creating chapter 10.46 regarding ATV routes and regulations.
Okay,
And
I think that's it, or approve the ordinance.
With-
2022-3.
with it also to be known to rescind on that.
you don't need to add.
I don't need to add any of that, that if people, if it decide that this is a bad idea, then how that's given, okay. Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, Michelle, second, any further discussion on that? Okay, roll call vote, start with Chad.
Wales, yes?
Reyes, aye.
Markowski, aye.
Church, no.
3, 1, approved. And, what we'll do is, this has to be published.
And it can't go to the paper, we won't put it in the paper until next Monday, because that's the next deadline, because we missed today's deadline. So it would not be published until next Thursday, which is,
And that's gonna be one that I believe you read, it was, enforce upon publication, correct?
And for the gentleman who asked
Well,
about
and
the rules,
posting.
Then posted.
as soon as the ordinance is posted in the paper, we'll have Jen put the rules on the web so that it will be published as to what the rules are.
July 21st.
What about as far as people having insurance on their ATVs and UTVs?
That's one of the
It's all in the
requirements
ordinance.
that they're supposed to have insurance.
And in 1988, you had to go through a class to ride them.
That's all in the ordinance.
I
Do we,
don't
do
know.
we have
if
that
that's-
on the site?
There's an age.
Anybody born after 1985 has to take an approved ATV class.
Alright. Okay, that's all the things that will have to be worked out, okay? The ordinance, will be posted on our website so everybody can read it. It's a good one. It pretty much covers all bases. And like Chad said, good point, you know, if people abuse this, if we have issues, it'll be rescinded. It's just like anything else. You know, it's gonna, be good until it's not good anymore.
Well, the ordinance itself, now that it's passed, has to be sent to the DNR, filed with the DNR. Has to go to, obviously, our police, also Warwick County Sheriff's Department.
And I believe,
So Jim is gonna send me a clean copy, which you can sign.
and I'm glad you kept it to 4 pages, because if it was 10 pages, nobody would read it.
Well, initially it was much longer because we had more regulations in there that I had to take out because it wasn't authorized by statute. And it has to be in strict conformity with the statute authorizing towns to pass these ordinances. So it was longer than 4 at one point.
Well, it covers everything, so. Okay, we're on new business, change August board meeting date to 8/15, because we have election day after our normally scheduled date, that'd be a conflict. That's part of the primary, or primary, what it's called, August 9th, what's the election called?
Partisan primary.
So I'll make, just need a
I may
motion.
not be able to attend.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to change August board meeting date to 8/15/22 due to the partisan primary.
Second.
Okay, we have motion second, discussion, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? None. Okay, Warwick County potential zoning ordinance amendment for one-time events. We asked the, I believe, Plan Commission for, feedback on this months ago, and I believe they did give them some feedback, but now the county, zoning officer, Nick Sigmund, is asking, all the towns one more time, start with town Richmond, are they okay with this? And again, it's a very simple deal, it's a one pager, you know, and it has to do mostly with parking requirements, which will help us, not hurt us, you know, I think. We have normally not had issues even on our special event permits where the parking became a, boy, we shouldn't have did that, not that I know of. And that's 15 years ago, can you remember any or get going sideways? I don't remember any either. So they've asked for our input, and it could be, just meeting minutes that we give them a copy of on this. I think it's a good deal, I mean, you guys read it, do you have any issues with it personally? More than one pager,
no,
no issues.
I thought it addressed safety, which was the most important thing, and then it listed, parking stalls the building should have. So I like that.
I reviewed it, I had no concerns.
I'm glad they're asking it again, in case there's something that drastically changed, I didn't even see it, what the change was, so I think it is that. So, okay, we need a motion then to, approve this, so that we can provide the minutes to, Nick Sigmund at the county.
special zoning ordinance amendment for one-time events as presented by the Walworth County Land Use and Resource Management Department.
Second?
I'll second.
I think Chad got you right here, Chad, second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? None. Okay, change August board meeting to Walworth County, okay, proposal from Ayers. Now, we kind of looked at this one back at our last Troy meeting. And, had a discussion with, Troy and the village on this, just to make sure we're all clear on this. We need this to move forward. The fee from Ayers to do this analysis, mostly with the levy, issues. We need that answer. So under appendix B is the scope of services for what they're doing. And basically information gathering, financial impact analysis, and report presentations. So we're gonna hear a presentation on this as soon as we give them the go-ahead. The total cost is $4,500. We agreed to do everything here, including splitting our attorney fees 3 ways. So this would be, to approve the expenditure of $1,500 for this, financial, consultant work for the Tri-Trade Library. All right, you guys looked at this? You see any
Yeah.
issues?
When it says they'll invoice the client each month,
It's gonna be 1 month, it's gonna be one shot. God, we need this done within a month anyway, so.
But are they gonna
Oh,
individually
no.
invoice, or the village then will bill back to us?
They can only serve or have a contract with one entity, that's what they were telling us here. So they're gonna bill,
Why would that be?
why would that be?
Yeah,
See the disclosure?
I haven't seen their proposal.
Okay, they have a disclosure of conflicts of interest, so if they're performing these services, they're the consultant for the village, okay? And we asked them as a joint board to go ahead and, provide a contract with a
Well,
proposal.
if you all agree on the same scope of service, there wouldn't be a conflict of interest.
Well, actually, I think the
You
first
should
line
be
says, Ayers has no known actual or potential material conflict of interest.
Right, but then they say,
Payments from third parties.
but then look under scope of service limitations, does not include municipal advisory services for the town of Troy and the town of East Troy. They can't serve 3 masters, is the way I was told. So, by the village hiring this process, we'll get our answer, because the answer is for the entire Tri-Troy Library issue. You see that part where it says, does not include town account. And they say it's gonna probably be a one-deal deal. Because, really, if they would've asked me about this a little earlier, we would've had this on last month's. So, I believe Troy and the village will both approve this, they're waiting for us to say go. I think it'll go anyway, but we
But-
agreed to
And
go
it
up
has to go like now because,
budget time,
yeah,
county and us.
Well,
And the village is just gonna bill us.
Yeah, there is, there is.
are the
It's
employees,
Go ahead, Barb. So,
the employees of the library are employees of the village, correct?
Yes, they do all that.
So the village is running point on all of the contracts. So I'm assuming that this is why they do a bill to the village and not to each of the separate municipalities. But I thought we had already agreed in principle at a Tri-Troy meeting that we would split all services 3 ways equally.
Yeah, for attorney services.
Attorneys and anything else that was
I
necessary.
believe this is only analysis that's gonna be required, for next step. I did forward the last email from, John Kendall and their attorney, saying that we need this.
as long as they tell me how to
Yeah,
That's all I care about.
and that affects all three municipalities.
I make a motion, we approve the, written amendment from Ayers regarding the tri-Troy Leonard consulting services.
Second.
For second discussion, hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, this one here, you think it'd be best if I send an email to Eileen Zoom and say at the last night's meeting, approve this, or do the same thing here with draft minutes?
You can just tell her it's approved.
Yeah.
You can just email
Should
her.
I have draft minutes tomorrow?
Copy.
How can you
Copy.
really
We
approve a contract that you're not a party to anyway?
We're
It's
appro-
just an agreement to.
We're agreeing to pay a third of it.
Split the profits.
We're doing.
I think a call would suffice.
We both call and
Copy,
email,
yeah.
copy everybody. Copy world. Okay. Okay,